Hello, the obligatory hello, hello message.
Hello, hello. Hi, Mark.
Oh,
As you can see, we have a very, again with hands, we have a very extra special guest in
where's that voice coming from?
It's coming from
Hello.
Hello. So you guys, we are so excited because we have the amazing Mark Schaefer with us today, and we get to talk about all things this baby right here, the Marketing Rebellion, which I was just telling Mark, I'm on my second read through. I don't know if you've read Mark's books before, but I always have to do this with Mark's books because they're so good. I read through one time and then I go through the second time and I start to see these little tabs here. I start to formulate my own strategies off of his ideas and tactics. So Mark, we're so excited to have you talk about the Marketing Rebellion today. Also, obviously, you'll be presenting on this topic at the Hello Conference on March 28th in Springfield, New Jersey. We're super excited. And I wanna start by letting a cat out of the bag. We haven't announced this yet about the conference, but Mark has been kind enough to allow us to put each one of these books, or a book like this, into each one of the goodie bags. So everybody who attends
Swag alert
is getting a free copy of the Marketing Rebellion, and you'll get to listen to the master himself talk that day. So super excited.
I'll even sign your book.
He'll even sign your book. You heard it here first.
Sign your book.
There's a book signing. So Mark, I want to start by asking, and if you haven't read the book yet, that's okay. We'll
No, I have read it.
I mean, for the viewers.
Super good.
It's really good. You talk about, and obviously we don't want to give away the book, but you talk about the first, second, and third rebellion, and that we're currently kind of in this third rebellion. In layman's terms, if someone hasn't read your book, or if they're a marketing or business leader, what are they seeing in this third rebellion? How would you explain it?
Well, what most businesses don't understand, I think they sense it, but they haven't really reacted to it, that the customers are in control. So every company has a PowerPoint slide somewhere with their sales funnel on it and the customer journey. And what the research sort of shows is those days are over, that the customer owns the sales funnel, the customer owns the customer journey. And it's funny, a few months ago, Google put out a series of white papers basically supporting what I had in the book, and said, even people who are searching for the same thing on Google have unique customer paths, have unique customer journeys. So the idea that we can kind of put people in buckets and market to them in these buckets it just doesn't work that way anymore. And so a brand used to be what we tell people. And today, a brand is what people tell each other. And this requires a new marketing mindset, a new approach, maybe even new skills to think about, how do we get invited to that conversation? We can't buy our way in like we used to. 2/3 of our marketing is occurring without us. It's taking place in this customer-owned sales funnel, in these conversations. How do we embed our stories and our ideas in those conversations? And that's what the book is about.
I love it because it fits so nicely with our tagline, which is think conversation, not campaign. So obviously I'm totally aligned with the book and with your thoughts. And going off of your Google point, I just want to read something really quickly. I would try to say it, but it would be too hard to summarize. So on page 37 of the book, it says, Google co-founder Sergey Brin said that the emerging boom in artificial intelligence is creating a technology renaissance that will drive rates of unprecedented change. The new spring in artificial intelligence is the most significant development in my lifetime, he said. Every month, there are stunning new applications and transformative new techniques. such powerful tools bring with them new questions and responsibilities. So this ties right into the Hello conference, which we'll be talking about intelligent tools, so the rise of these tools, but also what's, I think, more important than the tools, how do you stay human, right? How do we use these tools to help us scale and grow and still keep the human as a part of the intelligent tools loop? So like very complicated question, but based on your research and based on the book, what would your answer be for keeping that human in the intelligent tools loop?
Well, I think that the danger is that companies do what they always do, and they overuse technology, they over rely on technology, they over automate, and instead of using technology to remove barriers between companies and their customers, they erect them, and that is the danger. And so artificial intelligence, I think, will be amazing if it's invisible. If we can make our companies more responsive, more approachable, more human. And Chris Penn, one of your other speakers, is featured in the book, talks about how AI can be used to, make your company more human. And so I think, my fear is that companies are just going to keep looking for that marketing easy button, and they're going to try to apply technology to solve problems they shouldn't be solving with technology. And the way I sort of begin my book and end my book is the most human company will win. And I believe that with all my heart, because at the end of the day, that's what we're screaming for. Just pay attention to us. Acknowledge that I'm here. Help me. Stop selling. Help me. Help me make more money, save more money, have a happier life, have a healthier life. Help me have more fun today. Help me understand. Help me belong. Help me find meaning. That's the new marketing, is to connect to those constant human truths that have always been there. And it's hard to do that with email spam or robocalls or direct mail. The days of the marketing easy button are over. If we can use technology to connect in a meaningful way and meet those human needs, we'll win. If you don't and your competitor does, you're done.
Oh, I believe it. So for my presentation at the Hello conference, I was doing research on, do consumers even want these intelligent tools to happen? And what I found is that 67%, which isn't an overwhelming number, but 67% of consumers are willing to work with the tool, but 30-something% said that they're concerned about the seamlessness, right? So essentially what they're asking for is at every touch point, if there's a tool that's going to help them get it done, fine. But at any point in that touch point, something goes wrong or haywire, they want a human, and they want that human immediately, which is difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's like hitting 0 pound when you're on a calling line.
Yeah.
You hit 0 pound and see you get that person.
Operator.
And I think that's funny that you say that, because one of the key, so we are using a bot, we're testing a bot right now. We make it very clear it's a bot. And if you want a human, we have keywords kind of built into the bot. And if operator is one of those keywords, if somebody types operator, it goes into a smart inbox that a human manages, and then we immediately bring in a human. So I think we look at it that way because this is what we do and we have this mindset. But so many companies don't have this mindset. They truly believe that they're going to bring in the tools and cut costs, maybe, by letting some humans go, and that the human doesn't have to be involved. And that's just not true.
Well, there's a lot of obstacles, I think, for companies to really succeed in this new era. And that's one of them, is you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to go see people. You got to visit with your customers. You have to understand your customers. The role of a CMO is to understand your customers so well that you can translate their needs to the entire organization. It's sort of the glue between the world and your company. And there's just not that many marketing leaders that are acting that way today. There's a story in the book where one of my marketing heroes, Martin Lindstrom, was giving a talk in front of 5,000 people, 5,000 marketing leaders. in New York. And he said, how many people have sat down and had a conversation with a customer in the last year? And 19 people raised their hand out of 5,000. And that's one of the reasons why marketing is lost. It's broken. And that's why marketing isn't human, because we've got our heads in dashboards and our MarTech stack instead of talking to our customers and understanding them.
Yeah. One of the things that you said on page 59 of the book is that consumers are dismissing products if there's no emotional connection. And that really struck me because, wow, like that's a big job for marketers to do. I mean, not that we didn't have that as one of our KPIs, or hopefully we had it as one of our KPIs, right? But how do you make someone have an emotional connection to your product or services?
Well, I think this is a really key point that you're bringing up, because the first chapter of the book is sort of depressing. Very scary. Somebody interviewed me on a show like this, and they opened up the book to the first chapter, and they had literally written in the margin, "Oh shit." And but it's a book of hope. I mean, it's a book filled with ideas and filled with inspiration. And the key change, I think, is that we've built our companies on advertising and public relations, and we've built our companies, our great brands, on advertising impressions. And I don't know about you, but I don't see ads that much anymore. I mean, I work really hard, and by the time it's evening, Rebecca and I kind of collapse on the couch, and we watch TV, and we watch Netflix, or we watch Amazon Prime. You see no commercials. I'm working on a big project in Atlanta. I'm driving 3 hours there, 3 hours back. I'm listening to the radio the whole time. No commercials. I'm listening to Sirius XM. I'm listening to audiobooks. I'm listening to Spotify. Zero commercials. I subscribe to digital versions of my favorite newspapers. No ads. Maybe there's ads. They're kind of invisible to me. 1/3 of Americans have ad blockers on their smart devices. So, it's not unusual for an individual's advertising consumption to be down by 95% in the last 5 years. Now, people aren't seeing ads. And if they see them, they don't believe them. Who do they believe? People. We believe each other. And so the brands of the past were built by advertising impressions, and the companies and the brands of the future will be built with human impressions. And that's how we build the emotional attachment. We can't, some brands like Geico, they can spend millions of dollars to turn their company into a cute gecko. All right, Geico isn't a gecko. They're a bunch of accountants and statisticians. It's an insurance company. But they're seen as a human that's warm and competent through this little character. But most companies can't spend those millions of dollars, and they can't advertise as much. And Geico isn't going to be able to do it either long term, because we're seeing less and less ads. So the only idea is we've got to build that emotional connection the way we've always done it, through human relationships.
You know what gave me hope? Kind of answering this dilemma, this oh shit moment. You said a few pages later that we need to focus on consumer-generated marketing. So you talked about recommendations, conversations. You even mentioned social media marketing, social media posts, which gave me hope because, with all of the information that's coming out and what we've seen even in our own company, a lot of these stats are going down with being seen and social media working. But what we have noticed, and Carrie can attest to this, when we do that behind the scenes user-generated content, when we bring this storytelling in and try to tell the story to garner some sort of emotion, we constantly see numbers that go way beyond any of this is the average reach you'll get on XYZ kind of thing.
Sure. Absolutely. And I mean, social media still has a tremendous amount of potential because it's been so overlooked and abused by brands. the cool thing about being old is that I can connect the dots. I mean, I was there at the beginning of the social media revolution, and companies tried to have conversations, but it was hard because it wasn't legally approved and it was inefficient. And so we replaced human voices with, personas and automation and, cut and paste and DMs, and it's soulless and it's gone. And think of the power if one of your favorite brands was on social media and boom, one of the top executives from the company pops on a Facebook Live and says, I just want to tell you what's going on. It'd be so stunning to really hear a live person. And one of my favorite quotes in the book is from Dr. Philip Kotler, another one of my marketing heroes. And he said, businesses they're just missing it. They need to have a human voice, not a legally approved voice. What is a human voice? A human voice is emotional and it's approachable and it's believable. And he said, even vulnerable. I can't even think of a company that's vulnerable, right? Maybe a few out there are sort of, they kind of admit their mistakes, but I mean, they're just so far away. The gap is so immense. But that's also an opportunity for somebody's going to figure this out because they're going to read my book. They're going to hear me at your conference and they're going to go, yeah, that's what we need to do.
Well, I've already figured that out. I mean, for me, it sounds like a lot of these big brands, not that I want to see anyone fail, but it sounds like a lot of these like Titanics are going to have a really hard time making this sharp left. And it's going to open up room for some of these more artisanal brands, which you talk about in the book. Yeah. And I kind of like that. I like that homey feel. And one of the other things that you mentioned that I definitely want to make sure I get brought up on this, under the issue of relevance, you talked about how GE was playing very well in the space to their boomer audience, but not really so well to their millennial audience. So my question and my one of my many little tabs on your book is, should we be, as content marketers, so switching gears a little bit, I mean, we're also talking about marketers, but should we be developing content based on generational segments? So maybe there aren't buyer personas, but can GE create content specific to the millennials as long as it's authentic and real? Is that a tactic?
Absolutely, but I think you had the right words there: authentic and real, and really something that's relevant to that space and that platform. Or, here's an example that I love from the book. So American Eagle, they sell to teens, sort of college age teens, and they have teens on their marketing advisory board.
I thought that was amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to. And the problem is if, some marketing committee decides, oh, we need to be Gen Z like today, let's get on Snapchat. It's just going to look like you're trying too hard, right? Yeah. I think that a lot of the problems today with brands like sort of being snarky on Twitter or whatever, they're starting to come across as just trying too hard. It's like an ad agency behind the scenes trying to be relevant. So, if you're, and it's more than authentic. One of my favorite quotes in the book, and I think it's very appropriate here, is that to win in this world, you can't be in a community. You have to be of the community. You can't be on Snapchat. You have to be of Snapchat. You've got to understand it so well that you're there, that you're a neighbor, that you're a friend. You're not an advertising agency with a strategic plan. Mm-hmm. And I mean, today, Gen Z, millennials, digital natives, they can sniff out a fake in 100 characters.
Oh, yeah.
So it is going to be a gut-wrenching transition. It's going to be an impossible transition. We're seeing the greatest companies and the greatest brands crumble before our eyes. Procter & Gamble, they're not making it. Unilever, they're not making it in a lot of areas. Procter & Gamble just announced last week that they're buying like a lot of local brands.
Is that how can you buy your way into this rebellion? I mean, even if they're buying those artisanal brands, if they try to buy those up and still have that corporate speak or embodiment, is that going to work?
Well, I'll give you an example. I can't name the company, but I had dinner last night with a marketing executive from one of the biggest brands in the world. And they just bought a local, a Mexican brand. It's from Mexico that is just doing great in America. It's just storming in America. So this big company says, oh, cool. We want to be that brand that storms. And what they're doing is they're trying to get this brand to fit into their systems, and they're killing the brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this marketing manager I was talking to used to be with the brand in Mexico. And it's just dying before his eyes. And it's heartbreaking.
Well, you say it in the book, you can't buy your way in. You can't buy your way in. You also said it at the beginning with this whole, being of the community, the 19 marketers that raise their hands.
Yeah.
If you're not out there talking to your customers, right before this, I was on a call with one of our advertising clients because he's having trouble, getting a lot of looks, but no conversion. So we were helping him with his landing page, which isn't really part of what we do, but we want to be of this guy's brand. We want to help him with the copy editing and the landing page and to get it right because we're sending the people and now we just need to convert. So, I mean, I take huge pride in jumping on clients' calls every quarter, but I think you're right. Like, it's such a different game strategy for a lot of people. They're really far apart from that customer.
All I can picture is the GIF. I think it's from 30 Rock, where the actor is dressed like, "How do you do, fellow youths?"
Yes,
Shemmy. And all I can picture in my head is that guy right now, like,
trying to fit in. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I went to a presentation at South by Southwest, and this, trend researcher was talking about some of these localist trends, this local active, people only believe what they see in their communities. And someone asked her, how are these big brands going to make that transition where you see, where they are literally of the community? They're of the city. And she said, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it because it's completely different from the way they've ever done business. There's nothing about their business model that lends them to succeed in this new world. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Carrie, I know you wanted to bring up some of the questions or comments that Christopher Penn made when we talked to him and kind of compare and contrast, because what's funny is that you guys have a lot of similar thoughts, but also some different thinking too about humans and artificial intelligence. So Carrie, did you want to? That
doesn't surprise me. I know Chris really well.
His brain works like a machine. Let's be honest. He's basically a robot.
Yeah, I think
he's a lovable robot. You just want to squeeze and cuddle.
He's so ahead of, I think, where many of the average brains, your average bears, go with their thinking.
Yeah, I think it's just how to utilize, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, but how do you use that AI? How do you use that automation to make your brand more human? Like how to best partner that with a community manager sitting down on social, like that kind of idea. Like, how do you combine those two to make it as human as possible, even using bots or AI of any kind?
Well, I think it's really simple. And actually, Chris wrote that section of my book. He wrote an essay about this. So I think number one is a lot of companies really, suck with their customer experience and their customer service. If you can use AI just to be one level above suck, you're going to be making improvements, right? I mean, it's possible that an AI human could be better than a human. So let's not overlook that. But I think the major theme of my book is that today we've got the tail wagging the dog. We are obsessed with technology, and we're looking at a technology first marketing approach. And what we need to be looking at is a customer first, human first approach, and then put technology in service of the customers, right?
Yeah.
That's why I opened up the book talking about Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Everybody thinks Amazon is a big technological disrupting company. He said, no. He said, what we figured out is that there are certain things that will never change. People want low price, vast selection, fast delivery. It's impossible for me to think 10 years from now, someone will say, I love Amazon, Jeff, but I wish I could pay more. So what you do is you build your business on what will not change. And then you arrange your technology to be the best at that. And that's exactly what I'm suggesting in the book. What doesn't change about our customers? They want to belong. They want to be acknowledged. They want to find meaning in their lives, right? And so how do we use technology? We're never going to master technology. We're never going to understand it all. But the hope we should have is we can understand our customers and then figure out the technology that has to be there.
P.S. That was one of my favorite stories in the book because I have two friends who work for Amazon, and I have several friends who are small business owners who hate Amazon because they think Amazon's coming in to take everything away from small business. But I almost wanted to clip that little section and send it to those people of mine, my friends who hate Amazon, because it's so true. It was such an aha moment. He's not doing it. It's not about coming in and being like this tech giant. Mm-hmm. He literally is using tech to solve a pain point that every single one of his customers had. Like bingo. And that's how you become your own Amazon.
If you look at every technological announcement they make, it could be drones or whatever. It's to be the best at one of those three things.
Yep.
Just that simple.
Well, our time is running short. It always goes so fast. But I have one last question for you without giving it away, right? Because obviously we want everyone watching to come see Mark speak live at the Hello Conference, get a free copy of The Marketing Rebellion, and also get it signed by Mark. But Mark, before we go, the last part, which obviously really spoke to me as a small business owner, especially one who works in the social and advertising space, you talk about the organization, right? How do you prepare your organization to become a human-centered marketing organization? How do you structure it? You go through some ideas in the book, but what's one answer, again, that doesn't give away the book or give away your talk, but what if I were coming to you as someone who you didn't know and I just said, what's one thing I can do to structure my organization in such a way that I can be a more human-centered organization? What would you tell me?
Well, one of the things, I think we need to work through that. I think it's going to evolve, but the one observation that I made was that if I looked at the companies I admired that are really at the epicenter of this revolution, their marketing departments are almost entirely creative. And that was sort of a revelation to me. It's that because, think about it, we're trying to be invited to a customer conversation. How do you do that? You give them something really cool to take into that conversation. Something really creative, something they've never seen before, something that will make them go, wow, something make them feel, awestruck or inspired. And so it sort of makes sense that there's so much emphasis on creativity and finding creative ways to put those stories in people's hands that they'll take it forward. Our customers are our marketers. We have to help them do that job. So it takes creativity to do that. So that's the one insight that I have. It'll be interesting to see how it evolves.
I smell a follow-up book, because I feel like we'll be able to take all of these amazing things that some of these innovators will do and almost create like a playbook for these maybe larger companies or companies that just can't get there quickly. So anyway, Mark, it's been a pleasure as always. If you want to learn more about Mark Schaefer, the world's best marketer, go visit him on businessesgrow.com. That's businesses plural. Grow.com. And if you want to read The Marketing Rebellion and you're not coming to the conference, so you won't get a free copy, you can find
you need to come to the conference.
Amazon.
Because let me tell you something. This is the truth. This is the truth. So I'm going to give a speech at the conference. I debuted it last week at the National Speakers Association. This is the toughest audience in the world. It's professional speakers. I got a standing ovation. And several people said, your speech was worth the price of admission to the entire event. And this is the same speech I'm going to be bringing to Jersey, right?
Yes.
So for a lot less money than you would spend anywhere else. So this is maybe the best speech I've ever given. I'm really proud of it. And I'm really excited because the people who are sitting in that room are going to be blown away.
Totally blown away. Again, thanks so much, Mark. We'll put all of the links in below, and we'll also have them on the blog as well. So be sure to check those out if you want to find out about Mark, his book, or any of the conference information. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.